Hello, everyone. My name is Ross Atkinson. I'm a PhD student in the School of Education at Colorado State University in the College of Health and Human Sciences. I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about a veterans writing workshop that I helped found in the spring of 2018 with some faculty members affiliated with CSU's English department, specifically the Writing Center in the English department at CSU. Um, I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about the workshop model, a little bit about its history, and its transformation over the course of its 4-year lifespan. Specifically, its transformation from being a didactic model, a more teacher learner model, to one that um, is more participant driven with equitable power sharing and has a little bit more of a peer support model, is I think the way to put it. So we'll talk a little bit about that to hopefully help anybody who's interested in possibly starting a workshop like this to not make the same mistakes that we did in starting out. I'm sure you'll still make plenty of mistakes. That's kind of par for the course in starting any kind of workshop like this. But hopefully we can help you not make the same mistakes that we did anyway. Um, Throughout this presentation, I'm going to intersperse some of the content with examples of veteran participant writing from our published journal that we put out, Charlie Mike, just to kind of highlight the kinds of works that are being created in our workshop. They are challenging sometimes to hear. They are experience oriented, oftentimes prompted through the use of very vague prompts to kind of get at past experiences in the real world. And Oftentimes these are cathartic for the veteran population, veteran participants to write and to share. And in being so, they're also oftentimes challenging to listen to. So I wanted to share with you this piece titled "To the Kid Who Got Shot in the Eye" by Marshall Spring as an example of that to kind of set the tone. It reads, "I don't know who shot you in the eye. I don't know how old you are, but I know you're too young to be here. I don't know why you shot at me, but I know you never will again. I don't know what you could have been, but now I know you won't. I don't know why you thought it was a good idea to shoot at a group of US Marines, but it wasn't. I don't know how angry or sad or deluded you must have been, but I know I wish you hadn't." This is a great example of the kind of work that's being produced in the workshop. It is very visceral um, and very experience oriented. So just as an example of what we might be listening to. On the second slide here, I wanted to share with you a little bit of our promotional material. This on the right-hand side is the Charlie Mike journal that we created from our workshop. This video kind of highlights a lot about the workshop, so I'm going to play just a minute-long clip from this, and then we'll talk about it a little bit afterwards.
The Veterans Writing Workshop at Colorado State University welcomes anyone connected to the military to submit and share their own works of creative writing in a group setting.
The goal of this program, the top goal, is to publish a book with a diverse set of voices from people in the community who have been affected by military life.
The journal of their collected works will be Charlie Mike, the military phonetic alphabet designation for the letters C and M. For service members, this means continue mission. It's a call to action for pressing on in the face of military impact on life.
We would distribute it for free throughout the community. We would be in coffee shops or libraries and hopefully have a public reading, kind of an unveiling of the journal.
The Veterans Writing Workshop is open to active military, veterans, military families, and affiliates.
What I saw was a circle of strangers who were willing to let down whatever guards they have and be vulnerable in this space and write about things that have a deep kind of emotional truth, resonance.
And the first iteration of our workshop, it didn't show up that way, and I think that's why it's so powerful now for me to see that, because that's what we were hoping for when we first thought about constructing this workshop. But now with Ryan's method, where there is no instructor, there is just the participants, and it is we do have Ryan as a facilitator, but he himself is also a participant.
I love it. Love the writing. Love helping others tell their stories too.
So this video kind of highlights a lot about our workshop, specifically about how our model has transformed from one that was very didactic in nature to one that was more of a peer support, a participant-centric model. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. What I wanted to do is show you from that first model of our workshop, an artifact. This is a manifesto that was created by the participants in our workshop. It's a confluence of various participants writing all kind of juxtaposed together in this single document. And this document highlights a lot about the problems with running a didactic model workshop, so that teacher-learner model, where all the power is kind of focused on the teacher. So our model taught a specific method or style or genre of writing, like manifesto, the one you see here on the screen. And then we would do that in the span of an hour, and then give the veteran participants about an hour to write using that frame of reference, that model, or that genre, or that style, to tell their story. But the issue was that the veteran participants didn't want to listen to us talk for an hour about how to compose a memoir, or how to compose a manifesto like the one you see here. Instead, they just wanted to tell the stories they had to tell in the way they wanted to tell it. And so once we realized that, our model shifted. We got a new facilitator, the one you saw, Ryan, and he took what we learned and created a model that was more oriented toward the participants themselves. So the model of our workshop ended up being something that looked a little bit more like this. It uses a peer support model with a veteran facilitator. So that means that everybody there has equitable power involved. There's not one person with a whole bunch of power that kind of runs the room. Essentially, we all walk in. There might be the facilitator might have a prompt for you. They might pitch, and they might say, okay, time's about up right now for our 30 minutes of writing, however long you decide you want the participants to write for that day. But that's about the only power they have. There's no, all right, sit in your seats, here's an activity, here's something to do. There's none of that. It's very low stakes, very oriented toward the writing itself, and the support given to the participants from one another around their writing. So we do a model where we have a writing block of about 30 minutes, and then we talk to each other for about 30 minutes about what we've heard. Participants will read their writings, parts of their writing, ask for help. If it's a piece they want to publish, for instance, in the journal, oftentimes it isn't a piece they want to publish. But when it is, they often ask for critiques. So one of the only kind of standing guidelines of the workshop is that compliments are welcome and critiques are asked for. So, and oftentimes they are. So that's kind of how we see the model working. These are some examples of some prompts that we use. The facilitators will bring into the workshop. So they're very vague prompts oftentimes. Sometimes they have to deal with the military, sometimes they don't. Part of the new model that kind of helped us expand and grow was the shedding of holding on to just veterans in the workshop. And what we found was that everybody affected by military life and culture in some way has a story to tell, to include the child who had to move 100 times, or the spouse who went through 3 deployments, or all of these people have stories to tell, and their lives are impacted by the military. So extending the military acceptance for who's involved in the workshop out a little bit to include these people helped a lot. And then kind of creating prompts that were oriented toward, they were a little bit more ambiguous, that people could select what they wanted to write about. So some examples are a change in perspective. How has your perspective or view of the military changed or deepened over time? Write about a concrete experience, conversation, or encounter that led to change. Or a scene from a younger perspective, maybe adding moments of reflection. Lost, write about a time when you were lost or felt lost. It can be literal, in a city or jungle or dense fog, maybe relocating or moving. It could be metaphorical or psychological, in war or returning home. So you can see how there are a whole bunch of options in these prompts, not very specific. And we found that this leads to some pretty good writing. Advertising is another thing you have to consider when you're trying to build a workshop like this. So how are you going to get the word out? We contacted everything from radio stations to VA helplines in the area, or VA offices in the area. We contacted all of our local community colleges, put up flyers in all the veteran-oriented rooms and spaces. We also contacted and put out flyers with our local veteran nonprofit organizations. Town hall meetings and things like that are great spaces to kind of get the word out for these things. In our PR, you can kind of see the shift as well. So in the language here, this 4-part workshop series, this is the first iteration that we had for veterans, military family members, as well as active and reserve service members. So it kind of excludes people who have just an association with the military who are not direct family. And the workshop was meant to provide strategies and support for writing fiction, poetry, and nonfiction. So it was meant as a means of teaching people how to write. And that's not really what our participants wanted. So that was a mistake that we made based on the research that we had and the information that we had. And we shifted that. You can see the messaging here. Your story is important. No experience necessary. Come for one workshop or for all. And so you can see the kind of shift in messaging, the shift in who's accepted. This workshop's open to all veterans, active military dependents, and family members, and military affiliates. So anybody associated with the military in any way, or has been impacted by the military in any way. So the structure of the workshop, something else to consider when designing the structure of our workshop. These are kind of the pillars that we identified. How long do we want the workshop to run is important to consider. Who will facilitate the different iterations of the workshop? Is it going to be the same person, different people? Are they going to be professionals? We would recommend veterans. Peer-run workshops seem to be the best for producing good writing, for allowing a welcoming and safe and comfortable environment. And then also, should each iteration flow into one another or be independent? In our first model, we thought that teaching them this skill and then this skill and then this skill in a kind of iterative series was going to be for the best. But it turns out, for us anyway, that was a mistake. And we learned that having them each be independent allows for people to choose when they can and cannot go and not have guilt associated with coming or not coming. So it worked out better for us. Here's another example of participant writing that I'd like to read to you. It's called Totaled by Manton Chambers. And it reads, number of times I've wrecked a car, 1. Number of flutes I own, 7. Know how to play, 2. Number of bands I've seen live, 5. Enjoyed, 1. Number of girlfriends, 1. Number of hours married, 105,120. Number of children, 0. Number of college-level math classes, 1. Number of times I've drank and drove, 47. Number of funerals I've attended, 4. Number of months outside the U.S., 46. Number of fidget spinners in my coffee table drawer, 6. Number of close friends, 5. Number of times I've punched a wall, 5. Regretted it afterwards, 5. Number of bicycles in my backyard, 1. Number of cars I've bought, 5. New, 3. Used, 2. Number of miles on my Chevy Spark, 91,457. Number of times anxiety took over, 23. Number of days I missed in school as a kid, 1,460. Number of paranoid mothers, 1. Number of siblings, 3. Number of orchids in my window, 14. Number of days spent in Baghdad, 790. Number of discharged ammunitions, 556 NATO, 0. M31 MLRS rockets, 31. 155mm cannon, 86. 105mm cannon, 12. 120mm mortar, 162. Number of pilots I've cleared to shoot at people, 7. Number of disabilities recognized by the VA, 5. Number of years in therapy, 4. Number of human beings I've killed, 20. Actively trying to kill me, 0. Trying to kill others, 18. One mother, her daughter, 1. Number of U.S. dollars paid to the father, 5,000. Number of U.S. dollars for a single GMLRS rocket, 110,255. Number of elements in a call for fire, 6. Subsequent corrections, 11. Number of times I've jumped out of a moving car, 2. So this was prompted by one of the prompts asking for a list, essentially. List things. And this is what Manton Chambers listed. A very powerful piece to reflect on. Another thing I wanted to share from this video is kind of highlighting the therapeutic nature of the workshop. So I will start that for us now.
I like to tell people when I tell people about this program that I'm the only therapist there, but I'm not operating as a therapist, but boy, it feels like there's therapy going on in terms of just the natural, organic process that unfolds as people pour their hearts out. It's been very healing and allowed me to just also give more power to my voice and feel like, oh, you know what, I should stop second guessing my voice and just write and trust in that.
What's happening now after having
And so Mark Cunningham was one of our participants, is still one of our participants. He's a local therapist in the area, and he does a good job of kind of highlighting how, although this is not meant to be therapy, it can be pretty therapeutic. Jumping off of that idea that this workshop is therapeutic in a sense, I wanted to read to you this next piece written by our workshop facilitator, Ryan Lenham. We arrived back in New York in late December, Santa bringing home his troops. A bunch of little elves in digicamo, big black guns and shiny gold bullets, toy soldiers, little kid dreams come to life. A massive crowd awaits in an airport reception hall with tricolored flags to welcome home their heroes. We step off the plane, air full of cheers and confetti, an energy of cult-like adoration for those in uniform. The boisterous crowd pushes in, we smush together like metalheads in a mosh pit. The blob presses forward. Hands extend overhead holding beers, offering me the poison I tried to leave behind when I joined the war machine. Somehow thought a deployment death dance would set my alcoholic mind straight. I turned the first one down, a Budweiser, king of beers. Red and white label on a sweating bottle. Cool, crisp, refreshing. Gold crown atop the All-American logo. I push forward, try to sneak away, but everywhere I turn, more hands. Hey, hero, have a beer, a shot, a cold one. Knock back a few, you've earned it. Proud of what you did over there. Oh yeah, are you? Do you know about what I did over there? Do you know about the kids we killed, the money we paid the parents? Do you know about the drugs, the late night binges? But you can't guess what's in my ass right now. You're what? Yeah, you heard right. I smuggled a baggie of knockoff Indian-made Xanax in my culo. Can't wait to find a shitter to take it out. Never thought I'd be a mule in the drug game, but here we are. Tell you what, give me the goddamn beer. First sip is so good, so delicious, presses all the right circuits in the brain, gone in 2 gulps. How about another? You got another, don't you? Keep 'em coming. One ain't gonna do it. Not tonight, boys. Not tomorrow either. First domino's just toppled and there ain't no stopping what's about to come. At least the beast, isn't that what they say? Well, the beast is here, folks. It's me. It's us. It's you. No disengaging from the war machine. We're all gears, all cogs, all fodder for the fight. Bow down to the yellow ribbon god and give up your firstborn. Hell, give up your secondborn, your sons, your daughters. There ain't no saint in the machine. It feeds, needs to feed, must feed to stay alive. Bloodweiser, king of fears, goes down easy every time. Now where's the goddamn latrine? So this was a piece written by our facilitator Ryan Lanham, and I think it does a great job of highlighting the kind of vulnerability we can get in these spaces. This is obviously a homecoming kind of memoir that Ryan wrote, and I think it was prompted off of a prompt that asked, "Tell me a time about homecoming," whatever that means to you. It could mean coming back from the military, a deployment. It could mean, just arriving home after a day of work. Talk about a time in which you arrived home. And I think this piece segues really well into just some final thoughts about the workshop. You've heard some writing from participants. You've heard participant voices through our video that we have. I'm going to share with you just one more clip from that video that highlights one more of our participants' experiences in the workshop and his thoughts.
what's happening now after having spent an hour and a half with all of these folks, these brothers and sisters, literally. They are my brothers and sisters. I'm home. This is home. This is a place I can relax. I can feel safe. I can open up, and whatever comes out, I know it's going to be okay.
Those who can't attend are welcome to view writing prompts and to submit their work at english.colostate.edu/CharlieMike. A schedule of group sessions is also available on the webpage.
We're hoping to make it something CSU offers indefinitely in the future. We just, I think, need all those voices represented in this project to have a more holistic picture of how military still affects people today.
So I think that last clip with Jim leading into Ryan finishing off the video, I think that Jim's statements about the workshop and how he feels resonates with a lot of the individuals who attend. It's a space where people can talk about the things they need to talk about, tell the stories they need to tell. And to get to that point took a long time and a lot of mistakes like we highlighted earlier. So I just wanted to highlight this last slide, some key takeaways from the construction of this workshop to get to the point that you saw with Jim expressing himself, to get our participants to that comfortability and to get them to that level of being able to self-express and to highlight moments of their life and stories, and to get to this point and be willing to not only tell their story in a space like that, but also be able to share their story with others, to publish those stories. To get to that point, we needed a few things, and I listed them out here. So if you're trying to build a workshop yourself, consider your model and maybe some of our recommendations. What we found works the best is peer support, veteran facilitated model, open access to anyone with a military story to tell, low stakes writing prompted by a facilitator. I'll give some examples of those prompts, more of those examples in the resources section of the 4Cs, wherever that's at for you all. Also allow time for sharing. Compliments are welcome, critiques are asked for. Make sure you publish your participants' writing in some manner. We do a journal. We also do public readings as well. We have one coming up in May of this year from the journal. You could do gallery walks. You could do any kind of way to publish the veteran or participant's writing. Consider time and length of workshop. Ours meets weekly for 2 hours over a 2-month period in the middle of the semester. We do 2 a year. We were doing 2 a year before COVID. Also consider PR and advertising. Flyers and handshakes at local veteran offices, radio stations, veteran-oriented nonprofits, community colleges, universities, all of these locations where veterans will be. Consider the post 9/11 GI Bill and veteran reintegration processes generally lead veterans to university spaces or veteran-oriented programs. So definitely think about and consider not only that, but also how you're going to orient your flyers and your messaging. We would recommend using open messaging to invite as many people as you can. And please check out the resources to see our most recent proposal if you're interested in the funding behind the book itself and the kind of funding we need. I've included a proposal. It's a proposal that I wrote to move the workshop actually from the English department to the education department that I'm in now, getting my PhD. And so it has a whole bunch more information on the workshop model, the purpose, the mission, as well as some of the funding considerations of the workshop. And that's it for my presentation. So thanks for coming to my talk, and please feel free to reach out with any questions you may have about workshop construction, about things that we did right or wrong. My email is on this slide here, ross.atkinson@colostate.edu. Thank you so much. It was great to be able to speak with you all.